here, but for the sake of time, we're going to officially call this annual meeting and get rolling. Called to order. So hello, Whittier community members. Feel free to go to the next slide, Kaylee. My name is Cindy Hovey, and I'm the current chair of the Whittier Alliance Board. Thank you for being here for the 2022 Whittier Alliance annual meeting. Kaylee Brown, our amazingly talented and steadfast executive director, is going to start us out with Zoom engagement overview.
Thanks, Cindy. Thanks for being here with us this afternoon. If you want to listen to this meeting in Spanish or Somali, you can select that channel through the interpretation feature on your toolbar. Has the globe icon at the bottom. We have interpreters today in both languages, as well as a couple language support folks here to assist attendees, translate chat comments and questions. If you do select one of those two channels, you'll have the option to retain a quieter stream of the English audio or just to mute it and only listen in that chosen language. Next, is also recommended that you update your smartphone app to the newest version of Zoom on your computer application as well, so you have all the features. If you are having any issues with the language interpretation options, you should leave the meeting, update your software, and rejoin. That seems to be a common way to fix that. Johan from Dialogue One is here to assist with issues as well that may arise with interpretation. So if you see Johan on the meeting, you can certainly send him a message for support. Finally, as folks probably heard when they joined, the meeting's being recorded in all 3 languages. We will do our best to get the video playbacks up on the Whittier Alliance website as soon as we can, so that folks who couldn't be here today are able to watch if they would like to. We also have live closed captioning available today, and I will go ahead and activate that now. So folks should see an icon down on their screen that has CC for closed captioning. If you do not see that, please message Kate Davis and she can help you with that tech support. Because we have interpreters today, we ask all speakers speak as clearly as they can and in a semi-moderate pace to help out our awesome interpreters and improve the accuracy of those subtitles. We invite each of you to edit your Zoom name to list your name and pronouns so we can respectfully address one another today. You can do that by selecting the 3 little dots in your video screen. Anyone with a WA in front of their name is staff, and anyone with a BD is a board director. And we know that virtual meetings are not the ideal way for everyone to communicate, nor is only doing in-person meetings. So we're trying to provide information in a number of different formats to reach more folks today. So we'll just quickly go over a couple pieces of housekeeping so folks know sort of how to engage today. We will use the chat feature to share information, links to documents and websites that are referenced as we go. We definitely encourage attendees to use that chat as well to connect with each other. Attendees will also be able to private chat one another if you see folks on the screen that you haven't connected with in a while. We also invite you to ask questions and comment on what is shared tonight today in a respectful manner. And a couple of folks will be monitoring the chat specifically for questions to bring forward for speakers to answer. Our staff member Fartoon will be, as well as our board member Daniel, will be kind of tracking the chat and raised hands for comments and questions that might be posed in Spanish and Somali. So know that you'll have someone there to help with that. We ask that everyone remain muted during the meeting unless you are called upon to speak. There will be invitations to raise your hand to contribute a motion, objection, or questions. This can be done by selecting the reactions option in the toolbar, and you'll see the raised hand button underneath the emojis, as well as speed up or slow down icons. To keep the agenda moving forward, please go ahead and use that chat feature to ask questions on content or processes. If you don't see that option, again, it's possible that you are using an outdated version of Zoom and may need to leave and update that and rejoin. Again, this meeting is being recorded. Anything submitted in the chat will also be recorded as attachments to the official meeting minutes as well. So we appreciate you bearing through technical difficulties with us that might arise. And again, Kate Davis is here from our board to help with any tech issues that you might have. Feel free to message her and she can work with you on that. Just one final reminder about the interpretation for Spanish and Somali. You can access those channels through the interpretation icon with the globe. Any questions on those features, go ahead and drop those in the chat. We'll get those questions answered for you. I will pass it back to Cindy.
Thank you, Kaylee, and thank you again to all who are here today on this beautiful day. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to put your video on so we can see your face, even though we aren't able to be in person together. So let's jump in and take a look at our agenda for today. So if you wanted to pull that up, Kaylee, that'd be great. And then, so in the chat, links for the agenda in English, Somali, and Spanish will be posted. In a few minutes, to help center us in our shared time together, we have the pleasure again this year of being led in a short meditation by our neighbor, Alicia Jackson. Business Rep Board Director, Allison Bross-White, will review our code of conduct. After introductions and the secretary's report, we will review our voting procedure. We'll make a call for final nominations for board candidates from the floor, put forth a motion for acting committees, and open up for any nominations or ballot initiatives from the floor. Right before, neighbor Tony the Scribe blesses us with some potent words. Then we'll hear about the treasurer's report, acting committees, 2116 lot steering committee, and the annual report. Following a trailer of Tylee Scheider's docudrama, we'll have the board director candidate forum, and then we'll hear about exciting events and opportunities before we close out. If there are any objections or additions to this agenda, please use the raise hand feature at this time. All right. Seeing none, we will consider the agenda to be approved for this meeting. Our intention is to keep time while getting through all the information today. And then on Friday, we hope you are able to join us for an in-person potluck at Calvary Church to connect more fluidly with neighbors, staff, current board, and board candidates prior to the close of the voting period. We'll have live music performances from Whittier neighbors such as Tony the Scribe, Shinjan Sengupta, and Ritika Ganguly, and our very own Whittier Alliance treasurer, Sydney Burrows. We welcome folks to contribute a dish if they'd like, but are certainly not required. We hope to see you there 6 to 8 p.m. on Friday the 20th. Over to Allison.
Hello, my name is Allison Bross-White, and I'm the owner of B Resale on Nicollet. I hold one of the business seats on the board. The full standard of conduct is attached to the agenda document, which again was linked in the chat for your reference in English, Spanish, and Somali. I am going to share key pieces of Whittier Alliance policies and standard of conduct. Keep these in mind as you submit questions and comments this afternoon. The Whittier Alliance strives to be inclusive of all persons in its activities. All chairs, facilitators, and participants of Whittier Alliance meetings will prioritize the voices of historically underrepresented people, populations, and/or communities, will not promote or tolerate racist, xenophobic, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, or other violent comments or language, will seek to exemplify and teach all members anti-racist, equity-driven, and inclusive approaches to community and neighborhood work. Additionally, while you are in this community space, please acknowledge that everyone has something to learn and something to contribute. Operate with an open mind, ask questions, actively listen, and weigh all opinions. Seek understanding first before agreement or disagreement, and make no judgmental statements. Keep the conversation focused on issues, not people. Do not criticize those who are absent, and then avoid acronyms or other language that may not be familiar to everyone. If someone violates our standard of conduct, they may be removed from the meeting. We will offer reminders and guidance as able, and with the hope that we can all hold a respectful and safe space today. I will be in the role of chat monitor. If someone violates the code of conduct or you feel attacked or unsafe by a private chat message, please direct message to me to report it. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. All right. Alicia Jackson is a Whittier resident of 10 years and a yoga teacher at Whittier Business Yes Yoga. Her approach to yoga is focused on developing a symbiotic relationship between movement and breath. Allowing space for the body to work as a whole is near and dear to her heart. An exuberant and inquisitive individual, Alicia strives to bring both characteristics into her classes. We are so fortunate to have Alicia here tonight to lead us through a meditation to ground us in community together. Over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. I have my camera on briefly just to say hello. It's great to see faces. I hope that you all can hear me. I'm in a slightly loud environment today, so I do apologize for that. I did want to take the time to be here and to commit to just regrounding in community. I'll turn my camera off, but I will have my voice on. Thank you. So in the beginning of this meditation today, I'll start with hello. Welcome to today's meeting. For this grounding meditation, we'll begin by scanning the body. Make a comfortable seat wherever you are. Take a few moments to shift around or gently sway if needed. Once comfortable, you may close your eyes or let your gaze become less focused. Take 3 deep breaths in and 3 deep breaths out. Take an inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. After your exhale, place your hands on your knees or your thighs, whichever is in reach. Take a moment to find your toes and wiggle them if you can. Then notice your calves and thighs. Shift awareness to your fingertips and check to see if the fingers are curled or relaxed. Notice your arms, the space between the shoulders and the ears, and any curve in the spine. As you are more aware of the space you take up in your seat, begin to let the mind mirror and focus on the word community. Community is a word having a great number of definitions, but for today's grounding, contemplate what community is in relation to building and creating. Before creating or building anything, there must be a foundation. Each foundation is unique to the building, but must support it in all the ways it can to provide a base for what is to be built afterward. This is not unlike creating a community. Building a community can be difficult. At other times, it can develop with ease. An event, an idea, or a person can build community. As a foundation, community can allow us to find like-minded individuals in which to create something larger than ourselves. This could be a movement, a change, or even a commitment to do something together as one. Think about the most recent time you joined a community. What drew you there? What resonated with you? There are some communities that we pass through in life. We may stay involved for a while and we eventually leave. There are other communities that we are born into, and some communities we voluntarily join and we choose to stay in them for the duration of our lives. It is important to understand how to build community, how to take care of each other while still making time to take care of ourselves, and how to create community with the notion that what was once built may have to be built again. Things can start and end, and often do, but having community as a foundation can help to forge the future. Take 3 more breaths in and out on your own. After your last exhale, begin to open the eyes if they were closed. Inhale, send the shoulders up towards the ears. And exhale, send the shoulders down and back. Thank you for spending time in this community today. And remember community as you go forward. I'll pass it back to the board.
Thank you, Alicia. I invite folks in the chat to share a word that describes how you're feeling or what came up for you with that meditation and grounding in community. Yeah, beautiful, relaxing, and grounding. Nick is chilled. Wonderful. The rebuild, when you said rebuild, Alicia, I had like a shiver down my spine. And I really appreciate that reminder that in everything we do as community, we might have to start again and step back and dig into foundation over and over again. Got peacefulness, warmth. Awesome. All right, on to introductions. Now that we are grounded together, let's take a moment to learn who is with us. We'll start with the small and mighty, very mighty Whittier Alliance staff. And then, so go ahead and follow the order on the slide there. Unmute yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Kaylee Brown. I'm the Executive Director of the Whittier Alliance, also a Whittier neighbor at 24th and Clinton.
Hello, my name is Fortuna Ismail. I am Whittier's outreach specialist and I live in a diner, but Whittier neighborhood is my second neighborhood.
Go ahead, Cindy, or Kristen, if you are on and want to introduce yourself, go ahead. If not, go ahead, Cindy.
Okay, cool. I thought I saw her earlier, so I was ready for her, but well, Kristen, if you are on, feel free to unmute yourself once board directors are done at this point. So for board directors, please follow the order on the slide, share your name and pronouns, and if you'd like any specific role you hold with the board. So again, I'm Cindy Hovey. I'm the current chair of the Whittier Alliance board. I use she, they pronouns.
I'm Sydney Burrows. I'm the treasurer of the board. I use she, her pronouns. My name is Nate Broadbridge, secretary on the board. I use he, him pronouns. I live over on 25th and Harriet.
I don't think Nate R is here, so I'm Daniel Perez. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I live on Clinton between 25th and 26th.
My name is Allison Brass White, she, her pronouns, and I own B Resale on Nicollet Ave.
My name is Kate Davis. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a resident over at 26th and 2nd.
My name is Katie Heimer. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I live over, I'm on the board of directors, and I also live over on 22nd and Pleasant.
My name is Nick Hutchinson. I am the chair of the Community Engagement Committee. I use he, him pronouns, and I live at 26th and Pillsbury.
My name is George Rishmawi. I'm the chair of Housing and Land Use. I go by he, him, and I'm on 26 in Garfield.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Brown. I use she, her pronouns. I hold one of the nonprofit business seats on the board representing Calvary Church, and I live at 26th and 3rd.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. And Cami Brody, Danny Villars, and Bridget Higgins, as well as Nate Rasseter, could not be here today, but they are also board members. Now, community members' turns. In the chat, if you could please, we invite you to share your name, pronouns, what area of the neighborhood you live in, or business or property that you own, and a moment of joy you experienced in Whittier neighborhood recently, or even in the past year. And I invite everyone, board members, staff, to participate in that as well.
Hello.
All right.
Yeah, my name is Jesse Orevides. I live in 2944 Grant in Lake. And if anybody's around this area, the most joyful thing in Whittier is seeing all those new gardens all over Whittier. And also on Grant and Lake, there's some beautiful gardens out there too. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. Tulips are current joy of Jill. Thank you. Yeah, I think we were all very ready for spring this year, as it was very delayed and up and down for us for a minute there. Awesome. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. All right. To keep us scooting along, because we are a little over time, let's hand it over to Nate for the secretary's report.
Excellent. Everybody can hear me? So first up is approving last year's meeting minutes. They're on the shared screen as a link, and a link is in the chat. So to get started, does anybody have any changes, edits, or anything that they feel like needs to be made to the 2021 annual meeting minutes? Make sure you use your raised hand function. Going once, going twice, seeing none, we'll just consider these minutes approved. We had a great meeting, or a great year last year, many productive meetings, many engaged neighbors, and lots of folks participated in the Whittier Alliance. Of the 17 board seats, 2 are reserved for committee chairs, housing and land use. And those folks are selected each year by their respective committee meetings, and they serve a 1-year term. 3 are reserved for business and nonprofit representatives who are also elected to 1-year terms. And then the remaining 12 are resident seats elected to stagger 3-year terms. Each year, we've got 4 resident seats up for re-election. Serving on the Whittier Alliance Board of Directors is a valuable commitment of time, and it consists of a bare minimum of 3 to 4 hours of meetings and prep work each month. And additionally, many board members participate in our committees, internal projects, planning for community events, et cetera, and other community-based services in the Whittier neighborhood and the city of Minneapolis in general at large. We have a lot of unique projects and work ahead of us in the next couple of years, which we'll hear more about later on. But we'd encourage anyone who might be interested in the opportunity to consider running for a board seat or to reach out anytime to staff and current board members to learn about ways to get involved, more ways to run next year, or participate in any of the other committees. So I'm going to let Kaylee review the voting process and ballot. Then I will make a final call for any nominations on the floor, and we'll get going from there. So Kaylee, would you please review the voting procedure?
Yes, I would be happy to. So Whittier, essentially Whittier residents and individuals who own property or a business in the Whittier neighborhood are members of the Whittier Alliance. In order to exercise voting rights, members must first verify their voting eligibility. So when your membership includes the right to vote at acting committee meetings, the annual meetings, special meetings of the membership, vote in the election of board members and committee chairs, and the methods through which residents, owners can establish their eligibility are outlined in the Whittier Alliance bylaws on pages 2 to 3, and we'll drop the bylaws in English, Spanish, and Somali in the chat. The bylaws indicate that ballots be cast over a minimum of a 7-day voting period. So here shortly, we will make that call for any final nominations for board candidates to be made here from the floor, the virtual floor. Eligible candidates will be added to the ballot, which will be in both digital and paper options to complete the ballot. And they will be allowed to participate in the candidate forum here later in this meeting. Items that might come up that would need a full membership vote, such as establishing the acting committees for the following year, those will also be on the ballot for you all to weigh in on as well. The final ballot and 7-day voting period will officially open tomorrow at 9 a.m. and a digital voter guide is available with information on candidates and other items requiring a vote on that ballot. When the voting period closes on after 5 p.m. next Saturday, the 21st, the League of Women Voters as a neutral third party will cross-reference all ballots cast with the final registered voter list to sort of certify those results. And we'll have the results from our election announced early that following week. In an effort to expand access to decision-making, we do have that digital voting option in addition to in-person options. We use a secure election software called Election Runner. If you voted with us last year at the annual meeting, you may have used it for the first time then. That allows us to ensure that only ballots cast online are done by Whittier Alliance members. And we also will offer multilingual support to cast a ballot, whether that's paper or digital, here in the Whittier Alliance office. And we'll go ahead and post these in-person voting hours for next week in the chat if you'd like some more support to get that filled out. With that, I'll pass it back to Nate to make that final call for any more nominations.
Thanks, Kaylee. So now that we've gone over how to vote, time to make a final call for nominations for board candidates. In page 6 of our organizational bylaws, we have outlined the qualifications that a person must meet to be an eligible candidate. So quickly, that is, you must meet the eligibility required for membership. You must be able to demonstrate attendance at Whittier Alliance sponsored events, meetings, task forces, individual meetings with Whittier Alliance staff, other board members, some form of engagement within the last 12 months before today. You must support the exempt purpose of the organization. You must be an adult over the age of 18, and you must not have taken any action adverse to or showing implied malice towards the organization. So if you meet all of those qualifications, we invite anyone new to throw their hat in the ring at this time by using the hand raise feature and by putting your first and last name into the chat. If you do so, you will be prompted to unmute your microphone where you can formally introduce yourself, declare which type of board seat you're running for. And then after that, you'll be privately messaged with a link to the application form and the voter registration form to complete on the spot so that we have all the information necessary to confirm your eligibility before the ballot is open tomorrow morning. So new candidates will be considered provisional until the eligibility is verified, but it will allow you to participate in the candidate forum later on in this agenda. So I would like to open it up if anybody would like to make a call for a nomination from the floor. One final call for anyone else who would like to be considered for a board seat this year beyond those who've already applied. Right, then I'm not seeing any. Cool. Well, thanks, folks. And we are looking forward to the virtual voting process over the next few days here. Cindy.
Thank you, Nate.
Totally.
And Kaylee. So each year the board puts forward a recommendation for you, the membership, regarding the acting committees for the year ahead. This year, the Whittier Alliance Board recommends that the membership move to establish housing and land use and community engagement as the acting committees of the organization for 2022 to 2023. And so this would be then put onto the ballot for an official full membership vote. Is there anyone that would like to make that motion? You can use the raise hand feature again by selecting the reactions in your toolbar and then click that raise hand. Looking for a hand. Come now, my people.
I can't find the hand, but I would like to make the motion to establish or reestablish these two as acting committees.
Is there a second?
Aye.
I see a second. All right. Any objections or discussion on the motion to establish the housing and land use and community engagement as the acting committees for this next year? All right, seeing none, we will consider this approved to be put on the ballot for the voting period. And then before we move on, we want to make a final pause to see if there are any additional motions from the floor for folks that would like to have discussion or consideration to be put on the final ballot. Feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself if you do. All right, one final call for any motions for consideration or ballot initiatives. Cool. Sweet. Well, that was a lot of info, kind of the dry, tedious part. And so we're going to take a break from business and welcome Tony the Scribe to the virtual microphone. Tony the Scribe is a writer, musician, and performance artist from Minneapolis. His work grapples with anxieties large and small, from quiet moments of resolve to citywide uprisings. He's currently at work on Mixed Feelings, the third EP in the Mixed series, which explores different modes of composition. A 2020 recipient of the Minnesota Emerging Composer Award, he lives and writes in Whittier. Over to you, Tony.
Thanks, Cindy. Hi, everybody. Happy Whittier Day. I've got two pieces to read today, and I'll be playing a longer set next Friday. So excited to be here with you today. Thanks to the board for inviting me again. So this is called Corporal Maroon. They see you as a god. It's not hard to understand why. Last night I saw you on the screen, muscles rippling. A jawline like wrought iron, the star-spangled banner draped over your perfect body, a left hook connecting with a Nazi's jaw. That shield, that ever-present shield hanging off your right arm. The newsreel footage played a thunderous, brassy arrangement of Francis Scott Key as you carried the raw might of America in your frame, 6 feet and 3 inches of industry. Coal mines in your abdomen, factories in your biceps, the whole of our military might in those gloved fists. Industrial perfection made kinetic, made a jab and hook and shield throw. Loyal soldiers of the Fuhrer laid to waste, this one knocked out with a spinning back kick, that one with his stall helm caved in by the shield. At the climax, the horns swell with a glorious patriotism and you land a perfect uppercut, and the whole theater rises up in thunderous applause, cheering for the knuckles, the shield, the country. Of course, they don't know you like I do. We grew up together, you and I, Corporal Maroon and Captain America. You were still a child when I was born, Jamestown, a young settlement already gone sour. The colonists had started raiding the Powhatan for food they could not grow themselves, you leading them in a bright crusade of theft and murder. At the darkest hour, I was born, the son of a native mother and an African father escaped from slavery. My forces struck back, laid your militia to waste, forced you into a retreat. But you vowed revenge, vowed smallpox blankets and cotton plantations and Kentucky rifles. Our battles stretched out over the years. Our skirmishes were legendary. Little Bighorn, Harper's Ferry, Wounded Knee, Tulsa, Birmingham, so many more. I gave shade and nourishment to Chinese railway workers. You signed immigration quotas into law. You stomped out Reconstruction in the South. I moved my people north. The Twin Towers fell. You led a crusade through the heart of the Middle East. I elected the first Black president. You ensured he served your ends. Around and around until finally we find ourselves here. Me, unshaven, wearing little more than rags, huddled in movie theaters as shelter from the winter wind, and you bright on the screen, wreathed in standing ovations. I don't stand. I don't clap. I know better. I know that behind that shining shield, under the anthems and the latex and the real tape lies a coward. Your image is large, but your spirit is small. A scared little boy cowering behind a weapon and calling it shield. They may think you immortal, but everything dies. And on the day you breathe your last, my children and I will stand over your body, and we will breathe the joyful words we have waited to say all these centuries. Free at last, free at last. Thank God's Almighty, we are free at last. One more piece. A little quieter. An itch on my arm, a bump rising next to a bead of sweat, and I know without looking, raising my glass and examining the interruption on my skin. This insect asks for nothing more than a few drops of my life to share, to weave our life stuff together and make something new out of it. And when its offspring is born, it will be a child of mine also. The bird that devours it for sustenance will also be of me. And when that bird's wings fail it and it lands for the last time, and it sinks ever so slowly into the soil and I will know each other as we have not for lifetimes. And mycelia and grass and trees will rise from that soil that is me, and they will also drink in the sun, just as this small mosquito drinks the warmth from my veins. The itch of the mosquito puncturing my skin wakes me from the dream. I moved my hand as if to crush it, only to think better of it. What a small price to pay, to become a part of something else. And as it flies away, drunk with my blood, I drink in the evening and murmur a quiet thanks. Thank you.
I'll do the full collective snaps for you, Tony, for the whole group. Thank you so much, Tony. I invite folks to drop in the chat words or emotions or feelings that came up as Tony shared those powerful words. And again, be sure to join us for the Whittier Alliance Annual Neighborhood Potluck on Friday, May 20th, 6 to 8 at Calvary Church to see a longer live set of Tony the Scribe as well as other neighborhood artists. All right, now let's find out what's up, Whittier Alliance, starting with the Treasurer's Report. Take it away, Sydney.
Welcome to the Treasurer's Report. All right, 2021 was a wild ride for the Whittier Alliance. The Whittier Alliance's largest source of revenue comes from 2 funding contracts with the city of Minneapolis. So we spent and were reimbursed for $45,000 on the Neighborhood Revitalization Program, our NRP contract, and $151,000 on the Community Participation Program, the CPP contract. We raised about $6,000 and had about $93,000 in other grants, including funding from the McKnight Foundation for staff involvement in the Lake Street alignment process, as well as from the Minneapolis Foundation and the Center for Urban and Regional Affairs to support our tenant organizing and leadership development work. We also received an SBA loan in 2021 that has been forgiven, and in 2021, the Nicollet Avenue lot purchase was represented on our financial statements on the balance sheet, which is so exciting. We also saw some program service revenue this year for our administration of the city's business facade matching grant program. We consolidated our checking accounts when I very first started almost a year ago now, and have since earned about $1,500 in interest based on that change. Most of our fundraising happened at the end of the year in December, with about 60% of donations taking place that month. A lot of our activity happened towards the end of the year. Generally, a grant from the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council allowed us to organize and host the Eat Street Art Fest in October, which is where a lot of our activity takes place. Large takeaways overall for the whole year is that COVID is still largely affecting our financials. The PPP was represented still on these. Community outreach was also inflating our numbers. Generally, they kind of net each other, but that's just something to keep in mind moving forward. All in all, it was a successful year. But the objectives moving forward, I think, would be to continue further building out avenues to decrease reliance on our NRPs and achieve more self-sustaining income generating in the future. So those are my goals and aspirations, but very excited about how we turned out this year. So passing it to Nick.
Hey, everybody. So in the past year, the previously dormant Community Engagement Committee was reborn. I'm sorry, the Community Issues Committee was reborn as the Community Engagement Committee, and much of our work during this time is focused on getting things up and running again, the new identity and a new set of goals. In my first meeting as chair, we did some brainstorming around the areas of public safety, environmental sustainability, and community building, and we developed a guiding vision for the coming year. Over the meetings that followed, we further refined our ideas and developed a plan for turning those ideas into action. Some of our biggest successes of the past year have been in the area of civic engagement. Our first major accomplishment was the creation of the 2021 Whittier Alliance Election Guide, which provided a comprehensive look at everything that Whittier residents could expect to find on their ballots. We also hosted a public information session with Yes for Minneapolis regarding ballot question 2, and we provided support for the Stevens Square Neighborhood Association's mayoral candidate forum. That was all in October, by the way, busy month. Additionally, this March, we hosted a discussion with newly elected Ward 10 council member Aisha Chugtai, who gave an overview of her first few months in office and addressed community concerns, including public safety, the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act, or TOPA, and the needs of small businesses in Ward 10. In addition to driving participation in local politics, the Community Engagement Committee has also cultivated a variety of connections between neighbors. In August, we met with Morgan Luzier of the Lynn Lake Business Association, who talked to us about the needs of Whittier's small business community. And we have hosted several conversations regarding traffic calming and community safety. We even served as the first point of contact for a Whittier resident who went on to join our board. Lastly, the committee has served as a central hub for sharing information about community events and opportunities. We played a key role in publicizing last year's Eat Street Fall Arts Festival and have also served as Whittier Alliance's primary outreach platform regarding the Lake Street Corridor and Kmart site development projects. And most recently, we helped organize Whittier Alliance's Earth Day cleanup event. In addition to this committee's work over the past year, I personally have been involved with organizing the Whittier Really Really Free Market and the Whittier Solidarity Network, both of which have created many opportunities for Whittier neighbors to meet, interact, and get involved. I believe the most robust community organizing grows out of these kinds of interactions between independent but overlapping initiatives, and the results we've seen over the past year demonstrate the inherent vitality of these types of complex partnerships. It will take mass participation to see us safely through the challenging times that we are living in. We have done tremendous work over the past year in building up our community, but there is much work yet to be done. I look forward to seeing what more we can accomplish in the year to come. With all that being said, our next committee meeting is happening on June 8th from 6 to 7:30. So far, the items on that agenda are holding the election for committee chair. We will be digging deeper into some community ideas around Whittier Alliance's 2116 Nicollet Avenue project, and we will likely be sharing some more detailed updates on the process for engagement around the Kmart site this summer. We invite everyone to join, and we are working on finding a recurring venue to begin offering hybrid, in-person, and Zoom-based meetings next month. So hopefully that will be up and running and we can see you in person and or on Zoom. And with that, I will pass it to George.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. So for Housing and Land Use Committee, 2021 is the year the Housing and Land Use Committee, also known as HLU, is transformed from housing issues into a venue for a more holistic discussion of community planning and development projects within what we include as development, parks planning, transportation, anti-displacement, and housing policy. During the last year, we discussed many projects that will help transform and provide accessible, equitable, and sustainable environments for community members to experience within Whittier. What a year for new developments and any updates on community developments. We had roughly 10 new developments, actual building projects going through that were proposed and discussed to our committee. And that's not including any of the transportation and parks planning projects. The committee has streamlined the development process and expectations for developers about what community members would like to see as part of any new proposed development, and also created a committee subgroup focused on providing more in-depth insight and feedback to developers and hoping to build a better Whittier. The committee is focused on finalizing the equitable development scorecard, which will help to more effectively communicate community priorities and expectations for new projects upfront and evaluate projects against identified community needs in a more objective way. It will be implemented into full use this upcoming year. We're in the final process of finalizing that. The committee has been a great venue for getting new community members involved in the organization and community in general. And there will be many great opportunities to plug into ongoing work over the next year in whatever ways interest you. Whittier Alliance will be very involved in the community engagement process from the former Kmart and the new Nicollet Avenue project, which will formally start later this summer. To stay in the know on project updates and upcoming opportunities to participate, we encourage everyone to sign up for the project-specific newsletter through the city, which you can do on their project webpage link now in the chat. Our next committee meeting is happening this coming Tuesday till next week from 6:30 to 8 p.m. We'll be reviewing a new development project for the second time and taking a vote on that project, either in favor or in support of the project or not in support of the project, as we will be hearing about the upcoming First Ave reconstruction project also. We invite anyone and everyone to join. Next week's meeting will be over Zoom again, but as Nick mentioned, we are working on finalizing a plan for the hybrid option. Thanks. Daniel.
Thank you, George. So I'm Daniel Perez, and I'll be talking about the work that the Whittier Alliance has been doing in terms of anti-racism and our commitments to that work, as well as our partnership with the YWCA work. So in order for Whittier Alliance Board and staff to continue our ongoing development in anti-racism and in diversity, equity, and inclusion training, we've partnered with YWCA Minneapolis Racial Justice Department. This partnership consists of a workshop series, holding strategic planning hours, and participating in facilitator training, as well as administration of the Intercultural Development Inventory, IDI, to meet the needs of the Whittier Alliance Board and staff, stemming outward to benefit the Whittier community. The administration of the IDI assessment allowed for the Whittier Alliance Board and staff to see how we approach patterns of difference in general. The board and staff will be taking this awareness into our workshop series this year for deepened growth and understanding. Strategic planning hours took a closer look at policies, procedures, documents, hiring and retention, as well as recruitment development for our community project steering committee. Finally, racial justice facilitator training will be offered for up to 20 folks so that conversations about racial justice can continue into the future in the Whittier community. Overall, we have focused our work to provide education, awareness, assessments, and training that will continue Whittier Alliance commitment to become champions of diversity, inclusion, equity, and racial justice. Provide experiences and resources that will help solidify and advance future success for the Alliance and for neighbors and community members. Support leadership to build awareness and skills that will attract and retain a talented, diverse group of staff, board members, and other volunteers. Through this intentional work, Whittier Alliance board, staff, and volunteers hope to become more comfortable in discussions around systems of oppression and will be able to engage and do outreach to others in Whittier to become more united. As a result of becoming more intentional around anti-racism, equity, diversity, and inclusion, Whittier Alliance will become a leader and a model for neighborhood organizing for justice in Minneapolis. Thank you. Bridget?
So I'm Stephanie Brown. I am jumping in for Bridget Higgins today, who is the chair of our committee on the 2116 Nicollet Lot project. So in 2021, Whittier Alliance purchased the last remaining vacant lot on Whittier's stretch of the East Street corridor. So since vacant lots don't have numbers, that is at about a block and a half south of Franklin Avenue on the west side of the street between a dental office and the Great Media Building. So there's an empty grassy lot there. And we see this site as an opportunity to deepen the pursuit of the priorities that we've laid out in our strategic plan and for Whittier Alliance as an organization to take leadership and inclusive, community-led, and innovative real estate development. We're excited to transform this vacant lot into a space that serves the community and adds life to the corridor. To do this, we are going to look to partner with an experienced real estate developer to really seek a developer who's inspired to implement a project that is responsive to a community process and community priorities and bring some of the technical skill sets that our organization does not fully have. To guide the process, Whittier Alliance has put together a steering committee that has been hard at work over the past 8 months. That steering committee was formed through an open application process to the community, got a wide range of applications, and was selected to be a group that had ties to multiple parts of the community in different ways and included people with experience in development. So architects, urban planners, business owners, marketing professionals, developers who are connected with our community. That steering community, which I serve on and Bridget Higgins chairs, is developing a request for proposals or an RFP to articulate community vision. What that means is we're really outlining the basic aspects of what we want to see and putting out an application for developers to compete on to partner with us and bringing that vision to life. So that work has been informed by the Whittier Alliance strategic plan, conversations with the Housing Land Use Committee, industry and best practices, and ongoing community engagement. We have more community engagement to do, The RFP is, we are hoping to release that in August and select the final proposal in the fall. The best opportunity to really shape this project is to weigh in now. And so we have a link, I believe someone will be sharing in the chat. Oh, there it is. We want to hear from you. So this is a short survey. What it does is it asks you to consider what are your priorities between all the different things that could happen, to pick a couple, your first and second priority, so that we can really create the best proposal, that best application for developers possible. It gives you a chance to share other feedback you have and to nominate a name for the future development. So if you want to weigh in on naming some part of the community, on shaping what's going to happen there, it's a brief survey. It'll only take you a couple minutes to complete. And it will also give you the opportunity, if you choose, to sign up for future updates. So take the survey, share the survey. We'll be sharing it more broadly with the community in the weeks to come. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat or reach out later. We'd love to talk more. Thank you very much. I'll turn it to Kaylee.
Thanks, Stephanie. Shout out to all the folks who've been working so hard on that steering committee the last 8 months. So I'll just quickly note for everyone that the 2021 annual report for Whittier Alliance is now available on our website, and we'll link to that in the chat. Last year marked the 3rd year of our 5-year strategic plan. And as we heard from many of our speakers today, in 2021, we took some really significant strides toward realizing a number of the bigger picture goals in each of the 4 categories outlined in that strategic plan: community engagement, housing, support for small businesses and other organizations, and organizational sustainability for us internally. So as you read through the annual report, you will again see those icons for each of those 4 pillars throughout. Those will help directly connect the work that we accomplished last year with the ideas and strategies that we outlined in that plan. So as we look ahead to the rest of 2022 and 2023, there's a lot of work still to do, but we hold a lot of momentum on some key initiatives, both internally and externally in the community, to reach many of the goals that we set out to tackle. So in 2023, we'll begin the process of kind of a more in-depth evaluation of our progress to kind of set the stage for beginning work on our next strategic plan, which hopefully would be up for approval at the 2024 annual meeting. So thanks again to everyone who's really shown up in different ways, big and small, over the last several years to get us where we are.
Woo! All right, and we are on time again. So good work, everyone. That was a lot of info. And so again, welcome any questions to come through the chat so we can follow up on those. And since we had a lot of info, it means another break for some art. Tylee Scheider is a Whittier-based writer and a 2022-23 McKnight Fellow in Playwright at the Playwright Center. He's a recipient of the Liberty Live Commission, 2 consecutive Jerome Fellowships, and a I Am Soul Playwright in Residence at the National Black Theater. Tylee has created a short docudrama called Sign O' the Times, which is currently showing in the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Film Festival. The film follows a diverse community of Whittier neighbors as they reflect on the graffiti, lawn signs, and murals created in protest of George Floyd's murder. He seeks answers to the question of how could something so beautiful emerge from such an ugly incident. We'll now see a trailer for this powerful piece.
And if there's any issues with audio on this trailer, someone please just shout it out.
Overnight, Minneapolis burned again.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
After the death of George Floyd, I was gripped by the pulchritude of the lawn signs and murals advocating justice for his murder. Walking through my neighborhood, I asked myself, how could something so beautiful emerge from such an ugly incident? While the signage gave the city a unifying aesthetic, a more divisive narrative was unfolding around the 2020 election and pandemic. And it was this dichotomy that urged me to get to know my neighbors and learn more about the stories behind their signs.
Whatever religion, political party you are, it doesn't matter. This is a human being crying for help.
When you can actually experience the pain through your own, there becomes a deeper sense of shared humanity.
Ooh, I want to acknowledge it could have been supportive for just like a content warning grounding, as I just like in myself felt this like stir of emotion come forward, remembering all we went through as a neighborhood. So apologies for that, but please take care of yourselves, take a break, breather if you need to. That piece, I am really definitely going to see it. The Minnesota premiere of Scheider's documentary screened with MSPIFF on May 8th, but you can still support this project and Ty Lee by getting tickets for the remote digital screening from now through May 23rd through the link in the chat. Later this year, Ty Lee hopes to bring a live adaptation of this docudrama to the Pillsbury House Theater here in town. Calvary Church and the Whittier Alliance have both pledged financial support and are seeking out additional grant opportunities to help bring that production to fruition. Now it's time for the candidate forum.
Thanks, Cindy. So board candidates, each candidate will have about 1 minute to share at the top a bit about themselves and also indicate what type of board seat that you are running for, whether it's resident or nonprofit or for-profit business. And then there will be one set question for each candidate to respond to, and then we will have time to field a question or two from the floor if anybody has a question they would like to throw out to candidates. When we get there, if you would like to ask a question, just go ahead and use that raise hand feature, and we'll do our best to call on folks and prompt them to unmute. Yeah, you may want to set your view of your screen to speaker mode for this portion if you have not done that already, so that will ensure that you can see and hear each candidate when they share. So we will go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for this. And we'll go ahead and start with folks as their applications were submitted. So first we'll go to Sydney Burrows. And then Megan Matthew could not be here today, but she is running as a resident as well. So after Sydney, we will go to Jesse Oyervides. So Sydney Burrows, go ahead. You've got about a minute if you'd like to share.
Hello, I'm Sydney Burrows. I am completing my term as the treasurer. I was initially elected to the board as a representative of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. I was an accounting associate there, so I have some connections still there, and it's very close to my heart, and I hope to continue to work with them through the Whittier Alliance in the future. However, was switched to a resident seat halfway through, so completing my term, my 1-year term, and then I'm looking for re-election because I'm obsessed with this neighborhood. I have another part-time job at an accounting firm in this neighborhood, and I've lived here for 3 or 4 years now. So it's very close to my heart, and I've loved serving on the board and fulfilling the role as treasurer. And I have some like huge dreams and ambitions for what the potential is. So that's where I'm at. Jesse, I can just call it. Jesse, you're muted.
Yeah, that piece that I saw right now about the George Floyd, the riots and everything brought me memories because in 1992, me and 2 court securities and 2 United States Marshals and myself saved over 150 people's lives. We saved the courthouse. And that brought me memories. And that's why I love Whittier, because there's a diverse community. It's an awesome community. And my passion is gardening. And something about, I was married to my wife for 8 years. She's paralytic. She will never be able to walk. I'm going through mental health crisis right now. And I know a lot of people are going through, all this mental health crisis. And I want to bring information. I want to just scream it out that, it's okay to open up about what you're going through. And I really enjoy all the rest that are doing gardens. And I just want to be a board member. That way, I show my passion, my love, kindness, and compassion for others that are going through a hard time. And I also want to support, I don't call them homeless, I call them people with temporary address, because I know sooner or later they will have a home. And I appreciate if you could vote for me, but we have awesome candidates. So I guess that's it. Oh, one more thing. I planted all the tulips at the Lake Wine Spirits, and basically a lot of new gardens is my work. And I consider myself a garden artist. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. As I mentioned, Megan Matthew could not be here, but the voter guide that is available on our website is also getting linked in the chat. So you can check out her candidate bio there. So next we will go to Daniel Hansen, and then after that we will go to Allison Bross-White. So Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your Saturday to participate in this. A little bit about me. I've been living in Uptown for probably the better part of 5 years, where I've frequented the diverse array of businesses along East Street, and I've logged many, many miles of running and biking through the neighborhood and Greenway. And in that time, I've really come to love the vibrant community here, enough that I decided to buy a triplex along Garfield Avenue, where I now live with my girlfriend. And my ultimate goal, if elected, is simply to offer my perspective and work collaboratively with the board, the WA team, and this community to make Whittier the role model for a diverse, inclusive, engaging, and just plain fun neighborhood. So.
Thank you, Daniel. Next, we will go to Allison Bross-White, who's running for a for-profit business seat. Allison, go ahead, and then after that, we'll go to Stephanie Brown.
Hey, I'm Allison Bross-White. I just joined the board, I think in November or October, so I haven't been on the board very long, hence the reapplying to be on for another year. I've owned a business in Whittier. I think I'm going into my 9th year, maybe, in the neighborhood. And my business, I feel like, is kind of a hub for the area in terms of community relations. We do a lot of mutual aid, redistribution. We have a free closet in the store and a pay it forward program. So I think joining the board just kind of furthered my outreach into the area, getting outside of my store and connecting with other community members and business owners. And I would love to keep that going and keep doing the work to make Whittier affordable and livable and accessible for everyone. Thanks. That's to Stephanie.
Hello, Stephanie Brown. I introduced myself earlier because I'm currently serving on the board in this role. So I live in the neighborhood at 26th and 3rd. I have lived in Whittier for 7 years now. I really just love it. I don't think there are many neighborhoods quite like this one in terms of the the vibrancy and diversity of people, of space, of culture, of buildings, and really am excited to be a part of it and to know you all as my neighbors. I'm running for one of the nonprofit business seats representing Calvary Church, where I am the chair of the elder board, and I have been for the past 9 years. And Calvary is just really committed to being a part of the neighborhood in a really active way. And so I'm excited to help provide a link and to be able to be a part of this neighborhood in so many different ways. So excited to continue. I'm also serving on the Nicollet Lot Committee and have been working with the Lake Street Council on a lot of business grants and redevelopment, particularly coming out of the uprising, and how do we support businesses in opportunities to access funding and get back on their feet. There, if you are or know of any business that is looking for funding, particularly for redevelopment or construction projects, reach out on that too. But yeah, excited for this board election.
Thank you, Stephanie. And as it was mentioned as well during the committee reports, June 8th and June 21st, I believe, are the committee chair elections as well. So we've got folks who will be running for board seats on those days during those meetings. So as a part of this ballot, you will see the resident and nonprofit and for-profit candidates. So one additional question from us, and then we'll see if anybody has any questions from those in attendance. We talked a little bit about the 4 strategic plan pillars that Whittier Alliance is currently doing work on. Those, again, are community engagement, housing, support for small businesses and other organizations, and organizational sustainability for Whittier Alliance. So if you could share about 30, 45 seconds or so, each of you, about which piece of that strategic plan or pieces you feel like you're best positioned to support our work on, that would be great. And we'll just go back to the original order and start with Sydney Burrows.
Thanks, Kaylee. Okay. I agonized over which one to choose for way too long, and so I'm going to choose 2. I'm going to start with community engagement. I think community is like the most important thing of all time, which is why I reached out to be a part of the Whittier Alliance, which is why I care about the branding and getting the name out there and letting people know that they have a space to belong with this community, which I think is evidenced semi in my work with the annual meeting and setting up the potluck. We have a few donors and sponsors for the event as well, so that's kind of connecting with small businesses, which has been really great. But my actual other one I want to say is organizational sustainability. I, as treasurer and with the finance committee, am really hoping to create avenues that we can be generating our own wealth, that we're not necessarily relying on funds that we can't guarantee that the organization is going to last beyond what we are receiving each year just in city funds. So that's kind of what I am hoping to do this next year, and creative fundraising opportunities and just kind of merging everything together. You know, a double whammy. I care about all of them. They're all the best. Anyway, but those 2 specifically.
Thanks, Sydney. Jesse, would you like to go ahead next?
Yeah, community engagement, because Whittier is so diverse. I mean, we have so many people from all over the world coming to Whittier, and I want to basically engage with every single person that lives in Whittier. And everyone you mentioned is great, but I'm a person that likes to be out there, engage with, especially people that are coming from a war-torn country. And believe it or not, we do have residents, and I engage with them, and I see the kids with a big smile, riding bikes and going to school. So I want to use my time and Whittier support to engage more with everybody in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. And we'll go to Daniel.
Yeah, I think I'm very passionate about having a diverse set of, businesses and institutions, because I think that, that's where the community can really mingle and meet. A lot of people move somewhere, for a lifestyle. And so kind of having parks, having those things to go do are really key, I think foundational really to, the success of the neighborhood. and keeping it vibrant. But, you know, in my W-2, in terms of how I can help the organization, I think, so I forgot to mention, I currently work in a management consulting firm where I'm the director of business design. And so what we do is we help nonprofit hospital systems implement new service lines, new business units. And it's about, you know, their planning, design, and operational effectiveness, and how do we improve that business. So I think I'd like to apply, you know, a lot of that to Whittier Alliance. So, you know, whatever the priorities are, whatever those goals are, how do we reach them more efficiently and effectively across all 4 of the strategic pillars?
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. And we'll go next to Allison.
So I'm gonna turn off my video because my audio was freezing with the last one and see if that helps. I'm up north with my kids, so the Wi-Fi is a little shoddy. I want to get more involved with the Lake Street realignment project. I just need to make sure that the housing is accessible and affordable, and that businesses can afford to be a part of that versus it going to chain retailers. That, and then I think also community engagement, just I have a pretty strong relationship with young adults, I think, in the city, and getting them more involved in helping their neighborhoods and their communities be better. I think I could be of help in that area.
Thank you so much, Allison. And last, we'll go to Stephanie.
To quote Sydney, they're all just the best, but I will go with housing, which for me, housing is important because it has so much to do with who gets to be a part of this neighborhood in the first place, right? So you can only do engagement and organization if folks get to be here, and the types of places we have to live and how much they cost and who knows about them, that's really foundational. So I'm an urban planner. I've done a lot of work in housing policy and development. That was how I initially got involved with Whittier, was on some of those projects. So really excited about the work the Housing and Land Use Committee has been doing and George's leadership there. And I think I can continue to help in a board capacity, thinking through all the different policies and projects and the change that is happening in the Whittier neighborhood, and how we can be thoughtful and deliberate and effective in making sure that people get to live here, have the opportunity to live here, no matter how much they make, no matter where they were born, that it's a place everyone can call home.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. We've got time for one question from attendees. If anyone's got a burning question they want to ask of the candidates, go ahead and raise your hand. If you've got the raise hand feature, folks can help me keep an eye out for raised hands. That would be great too.
Cindy?
If there is no other, I would love just a quick response from everyone on just your favorite place to be in the neighborhood, whether a business or a corner, what have you.
And we will start with Sydney.
I love to be at Pimento and I love to be at the park, actually, over in front of the Mia as well.
Okay, and Jesse?
Yeah, my favorite place is the Sioux Gardens right by the Greenway. I go there every day with my coffee, my pastry, and it really helps with my mental health with what I'm going through. It really gives me that peace of mind, and it's a beautiful place. It's a welcoming place, and people in the Garden of Sioux Lions are very, very like, welcome, how you doing? And just really awesome. It's like being in this land in Whittier. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Daniel?
Yeah, mine is gonna have to hands down be black sheep pizza. I always get the hot salami and then I bring a bottle of honey. That's a pro tip. Do that. You drizzle it on top. Best day ever. Get back to me.
Okay, hot tip. I'm down for that. Allison.
I mean, I'm a little biased because I really love my shop, but if I'm not there, I'm at the Ice House listening to music. So in that outdoor concert series they did during the pandemic, so good.
Definitely agree with that. And Stephanie.
Food wise, I'll say the prodigal and the spicy cauliflower, but I'm also ridiculously excited that the hammocks are back up in MCAT's courtyard, and you will find me in those often this summer. Not a student at MCAT, but I figured they could take it.
Community hammocks, definitely. So that wraps up our candidate forum. Those are the folks that you will see on the ballot during the voting period this week. Again, that starts tomorrow morning. And just that final reminder to join us for the committee meetings June 8th and 21st as well to round out those last new board term elections. Make sure that you are registered with Whittier Alliance to vote. And if you do have an email, if that's accessible to you, definitely include that. You will receive a ballot automatically emailed to you if we have one on file for you, so that you can just vote from your phone or online or whatever is most accessible to you. So that will happen again tomorrow at 9 a.m. You'll get that ballot automatically. And now I'm going to pass it to Kate, and she is going to review some events and opportunities upcoming, and I'll get that up on the screen for you all as well.
Thanks, Kaylee. So there are a number of ways to get involved with Whittier Alliance and meet your neighbors in the coming weeks that we want to call out for all of you. Again, the voting period opens tomorrow at 9 a.m. and goes through 5 p.m. on Saturday, May 21st. And then we'll be having the annual meeting neighborhood potluck on Friday, May 20th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. to connect with our neighbors, meet the board candidates, eat great food, and hear some live music. Next, of course, I flipped screens on accident right at the wrong time. I don't know why it won't go back. So we will have the Community Connections Conference Saturday, May 21st, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., which is the city's free community. It connects residents, community groups, neighborhoods, and local government. This year's conference theme is Forward Together, welcoming all communities to reconnect with the city and get involved in moving Minneapolis forward. Whittier Really Free Market is on Saturday, June 4th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. You can check out the monthly free community market at Whittier Community Center. Offer what you'd like to give and take what you'd like to receive. Then Open Streets Lindale is on Sunday, June 5th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can enjoy Lindale Avenue without car traffic, connect with your neighbors, and visit a number of community organizations. And the Whittier Alliance booth will be there. Also, the Spring Fling Outdoor Art Exhibition at the 2116 Nicollet Lot will be Saturday, June 11th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And once again, the committee chair elections will be happening in the next committee meetings, which is the perfect time to check out each committee and have a say in who will coordinate and shape the work this year. So we'll have the Community Engagement Committee on Wednesday, June 8th, 6 p.m. to 7:30, and the Housing and Land Use Committee Tuesday, June 21st from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. This will also include a discussion on the future of the 2116 Avenue lot. So if that piqued your interest during the Whittier Alliance updates, please be sure to join. And finally, The next Whittier Alliance Board of Directors meeting will be Thursday, June 23rd, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate. And just a quick clarification on Lindale Open Streets. Whittier Alliance actually will not be having a booth there because the next day we will be having the Spring Fling Outdoor Art Exhibition.
So the booth is at the Spring Fling.
We'll be having the Spring Fling Outdoor Art Exhibition at the 2116 Nicollet Lot, Saturday, June 11th, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. So don't look for us at Lindale at Open Streets, but check it out. So it's a great event. And then visit us the next day for the Spring Fling Outdoor Art Exhibition.
It's actually the next weekend.
The next weekend. Okay. So much information. It's hard to keep track. Amazing things, but we got to check our capacity and say no to some things. That's been the struggle of the Whittier Alliance for so many years. All right, we are just about there, folks. And I shared this last year, and it feels like a really beautiful reminder for myself and all of us that all we are doing now as an organization has only been possible because of what has been done before us. And that includes things we might have agreed with or not agreed with. But because of what happened before us, we're able to do what we are doing now and look to do. So thank you to all of the Whittier Alliance members and board members who have served and been part of this organization and neighborhood over the last 40 plus years. A special thank you to our outgoing board directors who have been instrumental in navigating the challenges of the last 3 years and impactful to the organization's growth and achievements. Nate Rastetter, Nate Broadbridge, and Bridget Higgins, all serving 3 years, and Daniel Perez and Shinjan Sangupta serving 2. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And on a personal note, it has been a true honor serving as the chair of the Whittier Alliance Board of Directors over the past 2+ years. I look forward to supporting the next chair and continuing the seemingly endless projects we have underway and guided by our strategic plan. So thank you for this opportunity and for your trust. And a final thank you to each of you for being here and being part of the Whittier neighborhood. As we close out, please share in the chat what food or dish you would bring to the neighborhood potluck on Friday, May 20th at 6 p.m. So this can be whether or not you know you're gonna make it or not. What was something you would like to bring to nourish your neighbors? All right, the annual meeting will formally adjourn at the close of the voting period at 5 p.m. on Saturday, May 21st. However, this virtual info meeting portion is now done. So please have a beautiful rest of your Saturday and take care.